Okay, so 5 emotional licks that hit the spot. There we go. These are quick licks lessons as such, but they are quick licks because I think the longest one is possibly 2 bars, give or take the last bar, because that's really just an ending note. There you go. So 2 bars long. So essentially quick licks. If you do like them, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. That thumbs up really does help the channel as well. So, and if you haven't subscribed to it already. Now, a little bit of a description about these, because I've written them out in such a way where it's quite a generic way to write them, using 6-tuplets for a lot of them, and it's not really how an emotional lick should be, because you shouldn't have it kind of regimented straight down the line. When you're playing any of this sort of blues style stuff, you always want to loosen it up a little bit and almost tell a story with your lick. So phrase it in a way which you feel at that particular moment in time. Now, when you listen to players like Slash, Joe Perry, B.B. King, all sort of blues and blues rock players which use pentatonic predominantly, you notice that they kind of meander around the rhythm quite a lot. So it's their phrasing, their way of expressing a particular run, which we all play the same licks at the end of the day, but it's just a case of somebody says it differently to the next person, like regional accents. So bear that in mind, that they've been written out in a way where it's easy to follow the notes, but you don't have to follow the rhythm. So I want you to try and emote these as much as you can. I will link the jamming track in the description. I think it's on Apple and Spotify, but I'll link it in that description. And yeah, just sort of take on board what you can really with these. They're great licks to learn. They've got a lot of flavour to them if played in the right way. Take note of the blues curls, the bends, the vibrato, because if you add them in the right places, that again flavours a lick up and gives it that emotion that people are always on about when they say an emotional lick. So that's it really. So I'll leave that with you and give you the breakdown coming up with the tabs on the top. So you don't even have to go to my website to get the tabs, which are free on there, by the way, if you want the PDF. There you are. See you all in a mo. Right. So lick number 1, basically you have just a blues scale rundown on this. You could look at it as like a Stevie Ray Vaughan, or obviously in later years Kenny Wayne Shepherd uses this a lot because he's a bit of a Stevie Ray Vaughan rip-off, but that's in the nicest possible term. So you have the 8 on your first string, and then you're going to pull the 11 off to the 8 on the second string, using your third finger to slide from the 11 on the third string to the 10 on that third string, and then pulling off to the 8 on the same string. So you end up, so you should have 3 separate kind of notes on that string there. Going to the 10 on your fourth string, 2 strikes of the 8 on the third string, second strike of that 8, definitely put your vibrato on, that's really important, and then strike the 10, or you could just hammer on to that 10. It doesn't have to be on the beat, you could hold it that 8 as long as you want, or you could be as short as you want on that 8th fret before you go to the 10. But essentially it's, that's your lick. So don't even have to do 2 strikes of the 8, you could just do 1 as I just showed you there, or those 2. That is lick number 1. Let's move to lick number 2. Right, so lick 2 takes a bit of a different turn. You're using more of a natural minor on this, semitone bend at the beginning on that first string, which, to bring that emotion sort of sense into it, semitone bends are great for that. It's almost like that extended blues curl, if you like. So you have your 10th fret on the first string, bending that up, letting it back down, and then pulling off to the 8 on your first string. So going to the 11, second string, back to that same lick. So, oh, I forgot to mention the 8. I did say that, back on the first string. There you go. So you do that lick twice. Then to finish this lick off, and to tail it off, I ended up with the 11th fret, holding that for as long as you want to. On the tab it's 2 beats, but I think I was holding that for probably 4 beats on the demo. And you're just going to add that vibrato on the top of it. So it's a good opportunity to try and work on your vibrato on those bends, which, as we know, especially with a Strat on that first string and you're using 10s or higher, they are not easy to hold and add vibrato and keep it clean and even. So that's a good opportunity to work on that. So letting that back down, and when you come back down, you can obviously move down like that. So with that pre-bend or bend release, sorry, to the 11th fret, and then it goes back to the 10 as a note there without bending it. Now with that 10, try and add that vibrato into it again, just to sort of allow that emotional side of it to come through. And that was that lick. I'm not going to play that slow because it's slow enough anyway. There you go. Let's move on to lick number 3. Right, so lick 3, this one's slightly different. It's not as subtle as the other ones. And you're starting with that kind of 8th fret double stop. Now you don't have to do the double stop, it could be the 8th fret on that 3rd string, which might be your best bet rather than the 2nd string. But if you're going to do the double stop, and you want that blues curl on your second one, so holding both strings, string 2, string 3, 8th fret, and then gradually bringing them to that blues curl kind of hook at the end. So then adding a bit of vibrato onto that 10th fret and maybe sliding it out would be a good idea, just to add the flavour in. Next one, you're doing the same thing with the 8s, so double strike, second one with the blues curl, and then you're going to the 10th fret on your 3rd string, and then bending that up but stopping the bend right at the top. Just like that, so you stop it with your right hand more than likely, just to sort of cut the note short. Then you do the strikes again on that double stop, going to the 11th fret on the 2nd string after those double stop strikes, and then the lick which we did in lick number 1, except we're going to leave it on the root note of C just for this one, C minor, which is the 8 on your 1st string, 11 pull off to the 8 on your 2nd string, 11 slide to the 10, pull off to the 8 on your 3rd string, and then the 10th fret on your 4th string for that root note with vibrato to finish your lick. So there you go, that was that lick. Again, I won't play it slow because they're slow enough to understand anyway. Nice. Move on to lick number 4. Right, this one's relatively straightforward. It's kind of just two moves of 3 notes. So you have your first lick, which is using shape 3 of your pentatonics, going 12, hammer onto the 15. 4 notes, I should say, not 3. Then it's after the 15, you've got 13, then 16 on your second string. So then you kind of come in the opposite direction from the first string, using descending on this one from the 13th and first string, pull off from 16 to the 13 on your second string, and then 15 on your third string. Now with this lick, it's all, you know, obviously if you're running it through from like a... You can bring it in from anywhere. It's like a little tail off, so it's that short burst of energy. But what makes this work is that vibrato on that 16th fret. It really adds that flavour to it. If you try it without, it just sounds a bit static. It's okay, but you know, it just doesn't have that flavour to it. So just muck about with it, see what you can do. So essentially is your lick. Really simple, really effective, and that can be applied in any of the pentatonic shapes and be used as that nice short burst of energy. So just take your time with it and see if you can get it nice, quick, nice and fluid, and pretty clean through that as well. Start slow and then build up your speed gradually. There we go. Last one. So this is descending through shape 1. Pretty much like that. And then you've got your... So with these, they're, as I said, they're all fairly simple licks, but it's to try and make you guys be a little bit more creative with a simple lick, so you can put your own sort of flip on it, your own side to it as well. So with this, you're going to go 10-8 on the G, 10-8 G, 10-8 on the D, and then on the A string, 10, slide to the 8, slide to the 8, pull off to the 6, and then 8, 2 strikes on that E string. So now what I would suggest is raking into that 10th fret. By itself, that's quite a nice lick, so that right, that's good. But when you're raking, right hand is on the strings as you're moving towards the note which you need, which in this case is the F on that G. So when you get to that F note, you're lifting your palm from that back end, so you're sort of keeping it on the strings, break through and then lift it off just as you reach that note. And that's a nice thing to do anyway. You'll notice that with my playing on my jams is when I always rake into a note. It gives it just that little bit of an extra edge to just push an idea, push a note out there instead of going, which is fine, sounds good, but something there, something extra just to push that note into the forefront. So bear that in mind. Now once you've done the 2 8s, this is going on to the last beat of the bar now, we sort of slide into the 8 again. That was crap, so let me do that bit again. There we go, that's better. So, and then you go to the 6 on the A string. Then we'll do the same thing, but this time sliding up to the 10 on that A string, and then digging into the 8 on the D string, but adding vibrato. So that's where that sort of emotional flavour is going to come into it. So you've got 10, 8, A string, D string, then we go D string, slide into the 10, and then it's that 8 on the G, slide into the 10 on the G, and then 8 on your second string, the B, and then you've got the 11th fret. So you play that 11 twice, and then the second time you play it, you're in the next bar, which then goes to a double stop with that bend. Now these always sound a bit gnarly, so I love these things. They work really well, sound a bit gnarly, and are good for flavour. But what you're doing is you're playing the 11th fret on that second string, bending that a full tone, so pitching the 13th fret, and then the 8th fret on the first string stays exactly where it is. So essentially what it's doing is pushing the 11th fret up to the same pitch as the 8th fret on that first string. There you go. They are your licks for today, and I'll hand you back to me to sign it all off. There you go, so you're at the end. Hopefully you've enjoyed those. I like them myself because they leave the playing open to you to do what you want with. So they're actually quite, what would you say, universal lick. There you go. We all use the same licks, we just tell the story in a different way. That's the way it works. So sometimes you have to think outside the box and push yourself to tell that story in a different way. That's a nice way of putting it, I think. So please do subscribe, hit that bell button if you haven't done so already. The most important thing, give it a thumbs up because it pushes the video along. There are jamming tracks and things not available here on YouTube on my Patreon page, and you will find free stuff on there as well, and also lessons, loads of lessons that have kind of crossed over from the YouTube and put onto Patreon as well. So the tab is free on my website, dansguitar.com, and you will find everything you need to know on the Patreon platform, and my website too. There we go. That is it. I'll leave it with you for this week, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.